Have you ever felt proud of being well-informed? You read the news, follow experts, listen to podcasts, save articles, and stay updated on everything from AI to economics. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But what if that habit is quietly making you easier to replace? Not because learning is bad, because the thing you're collecting may no longer be what the world rewards. A century ago, knowledge was a competitive advantage. Today, information is everywhere. And when something becomes abundant, its value changes. So here's the question that matters. If information is no longer scarce, what is? The answer could completely change how you spend your time. 100 years ago, simply knowing something others didn't know could transform your future. If you had access to market prices before competitors, you had leverage. If you possessed specialized technical knowledge, companies needed you. Information itself created value. Now think about your phone. In seconds, it can give you investment advice, business strategies, scientific explanations, coding tutorials, and summaries of almost any book ever written. The average person now has access to more information than entire organizations once did, which creates a strange problem. When everyone has access to the same knowledge, knowledge alone stops being an advantage. Yet, people are consuming more information than ever. Why? Because information creates the feeling of progress. Imagine two people. The first spends 3 hours every day reading about entrepreneurship. The second spends 30 minutes learning and the remaining time building something small. A website, a service, a product. After a year, who knows more? Probably the first person. Who has created more value? Almost certainly the second. And that's where the trap appears. Your brain often rewards learning and doing with a similar sense of accomplishment. But only one of them changes reality, which raises an uncomfortable question. How much of what you consume actually improves your life? Most information expires far faster than we realize. Think about the news from 6 months ago. Can you remember the third biggest story of that week? Probably not. Yet, millions of people invested hours reading about it, debating it, and worrying about it. Now, compare that with someone who spent the same hours improving communication, sales, writing, design, programming, or leadership. One activity created temporary awareness. The other created lasting capability. And capability compounds. That difference is becoming even more important because of artificial intelligence. For decades, knowledge workers were paid largely for what they knew. Today, AI can retrieve facts, summarize documents, generate ideas, explain concepts, and answer questions almost instantly. Every year, access to information becomes cheaper. But turning information into results remains difficult. A company doesn't pay you because you know marketing theory. It pays you because you can generate customers. A client doesn't care how many productivity books you've read. They care whether you can solve a problem. Knowing is becoming cheaper. Doing is becoming more valuable. So what skills rise in value when information becomes nearly free? Judgment, execution, creativity, decision-making. The ability to focus on what matters and ignore what doesn't. Think about a master chef. The internet contains millions of recipes. But recipes alone don't create extraordinary meals. The chef knows what to combine, what to remove, what to change, and when to trust experience over instructions. The difference isn't access to information, it's applied understanding. And that's exactly where value is moving. The future belongs less to people who know everything and more to people who can do something with what they know. Once you notice this, you start seeing it everywhere. Many highly successful people aren't obsessed with consuming information. They're obsessed with producing outcomes. They aren't uninformed. They're selective. They focus on information that can be translated into action. Most people ask, "What else should I learn?" Highly effective people ask, "What can I build with what I already know?" That single question changes the game. Because eventually, another article won't help. Another video won't help. Another notification won't help. The bottleneck is no longer knowledge. The bottleneck is action. And here's the idea worth remembering. The person who applies one useful idea is often more valuable than the person who remembers 1,000. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by information, pause for a moment. Ask yourself whether you need another input or whether you need an output. The world is producing more information every minute, but value is increasingly created by people who can transform information into results. And tomorrow, when you open your phone, you'll face the same choice everyone else faces. Will you spend your time collecting more knowledge, or turning the knowledge you already have into something real?